an ad campaign. So I wouldn't mind sharing that with talking about that with you as well. So let's get started. So some people say, oh, it's funny that you include like a history of the program because what does that have to do with anything to here and now? But I have a master's in history, and I find that everything has a history, and that its history definitely plays a part in how things are in our present day and how they're going to affect us in the future. So I always think it's interesting to find out where things get their start. One of the things that intrigued me about this marketing program, specifically the Global Luxury Program, is that it started a really long time ago, and it started in the 1930s. And if you know anything about American history, you know that the 1930s were a tumultuous time here, and it was the Great Depression, and a lot of people were selling properties simply because they had to get rid of properties and estates that maybe they had acquired during the Roaring Twenties. And so there were a lot of really nice properties being put on the market, specifically in Chicago, San Francisco, and New York City. Coldwell Banker was in business, as you know. They started in '06, but they met this person who had a camera and a video camera reel and a still camera. His name was Henderson Talbot, and they employed this person to go around and take excellent photos and videos of some of these exquisite estates that were going on the market in the 1930s, and they started to use these pictures to make really interesting little booklets about properties and to make reels that they would show before movies to advertise the properties. So this marketing program has a really interesting history dating back to 1933. So I think that's pretty cool, and something I like to share with agents, because I think that one thing that sellers often ask is, what is Coldwell Banker, bringing to the table? Why should I go with Coldwell Banker? Why should I list this property? Everyone's really proud of their properties. They want to list it with the right people. So I think when you explain to them the history and the legacy of the brand and of the program itself, it always impresses them. So there's three main beliefs that go into the program. It's leadership, the fact that Coldwell Banker is the leader when it comes to selling luxury real estate in the United States. Hands down, it's black and white, and no one else sells more luxury real estate in the United States. Education is key. I think it's very cool that they spend so much time and resources on making classes accessible to everyone all throughout the year. At least 3 every year, global luxury classes, in addition to global luxury certification classes. There's always more ways to learn more, right? You go into Sales Pro, there's classes in there every single week, no matter what region you're in. And there's always abilities to learn more. You can go into Desk and you can go to Real You, and there's more classes in there than you can ever have time to take. So education's huge. Basically, finding it within yourself what you can do to make yourself the absolute pro and growing more. And Coldwell Banker kind of gives you the tools to do that. You just have to make the time to do it. And then also building an attention to detail, like identifying a luxury property and its characteristics is so important, and it goes beyond just the listing price. So that's something that I like to talk to agents about, and we'll get more into that. But these are the three main pillars of the program, and we'll touch on all of these as we continue. The value proposition of the program itself is leadership. The fact that no one else sells more 1 million plus homes, and 1 million is just sort of the generic price point we put on luxury. As you know, most of you probably are aware that there's a new global luxury pricing threshold that went into effect back in March. So the pricing threshold for luxury has changed in different zip codes. Here in Miami, where I live, there are places where the global luxury threshold is as low as 500,000, which is kind of crazy because a $500,000 house here in Miami isn't by no means luxury, but in other markets maybe that price works. So, anyway, so 1 million is a price point we use as sort of a generic benchmark for luxury. Access, the truly global MLS and all the syndication partners that the website works with in order to get your property out there all across the web. It's pretty impressive and one of the best in the world. And then support, just the fact that you have, you have your SSAs and the offices, you have your managers, and then you have your field marketing team to support you. All are awesome things to bring to the table. These are some numbers, and I'll get into these are US numbers for Coldwell Banker for 2020. I don't have the 2021 numbers yet. They have not released those. And then I'm going to share some Florida numbers. I don't have access to the numbers for the Mid-Atlantic region, but if anyone's interested in getting those statistics, they're often available in BrandServe. And then you can also email your field marketing manager. They all have those if you want to incorporate statistics and numbers into any of your presentations. So more than $168.4 million in luxury home sales each day in 2020. And the Coldwell Banker Network is responsible for 32,663 1 million plus home sales in 2020. And we can't wait to see this number for 2021. We're absolutely positive it's going to be more than triple what it was in 2020. And 2020 was a good year considering the pandemic. And the Coldwell Banker is, comprised of 94,000 independent sales associates in 3,000 offices and 43 countries and territories. So some impressive stats there. These are some numbers for Florida. For homes over $1 million, like I said, I use that sort of as a generic benchmark. Coldwell Banker was responsible for 2,036 transactions in the luxury realm, where Premier Sotheby's followed at 1,400. And then the total volume for sales over $1 million, like as much as like the volume, the amount that was sold, 4,622,000,000, 32,548. It's a huge number, and this is, like I said, for Florida. So you can reach out to your marketing team, or if you don't know who to reach out to, ask me, and I can find somebody to get your stats for you. So I had so many agents in a class I taught a few weeks ago asking about, 2021 and what are the statistics looking like? And, we should have some numbers by now since we're into Q4 of the year. So I went online and I've been reading a lot of articles from the Wall Street Journal and New York Times about real estate in our current market. So this is a little snippet of information that I took from a Wall Street Journal article that came out in late May or early June. This data is from the National Association of Realtors, and it shows that there's a 244.5% increase in the number of home sales in the United States, and these are homes that are over $1 million, and that's just an insane increase. So when it comes to traditional sales, which is between 250 and 500,000, there was an increase of 47%. So just a little snippet to show you really how insane this market is. And I always like to reflect back when I first started marketing luxury real estate. I was in Savannah, Georgia, and we used to laugh when agents would get a really high-end, beautiful historic listing because they'd be happy about it, but at the same time they'd say, "Okay, well here goes another 2 years of marketing dollars," because that's at that time in the early 2000s. That's how the average time that a historic luxury property would stay on the market was at least 24 months. So nowadays it's like 90 days or less in a lot of markets. So it's very interesting what we're going through in this current moment, as you all know. And hopefully you're all preparing for it to come to a slow stop soon. It can't last forever, I'm sure. The Coldwell Banker Global Luxury Program. So I built this slide to just sort of like lay out everything that the program entails, because I think that to really truly understand it, you kind of have to break it apart, because many people think global luxury and they think if they're not certified, then they can't go there. You absolutely can. If you're not certified yet and you get a luxury listing, absolutely market that listing as a global luxury listing. You don't have to be certified as a global luxury, certified agent in order to market it. You absolutely can. And then if you're interested in finding out more about certification, you have to take the class, and then you have to have, I believe, 3 transactions in a 24-month period that are in the top 10% of the market. I believe that's what the criteria is. And that's all available in desk if you need to look at it. But if you want to get into the global luxury, you're interested in breaking into luxury, you really need to understand this program, and it's a marketing program. So it has this distinct identity, the black and the white branding. There's the course, the certification course, and they offer the course in person and virtual throughout the year. The last one for 2021 just occurred at the beginning of the Gen Blue conference. It was an in-person only class, and it was over the weekend before Gen Blue started. And then the next one I'm hearing is going to be probably in late January, early February, and that will be probably a virtual class. So from what I understand from the national leadership, they're going to try to keep in-person and virtual classes an option for agents. So if agents learn better in person, they can plan on going to an in-person class. And if they preferred virtual, that's going to be available as well. The global website. So I'm talking here about the ColdwellBankerLuxury.com website. This is a beautiful website. It's an arm of the regular Coldwell Banker website, but it's its own site, and it only has the global luxury listings, and it's really built in a gorgeous way. It's a great way to find properties in other areas if you have clients asking you about properties in other markets, or if you need to find an agent in another market. This is a great way to do that. And within that website, there's great referral opportunities. And then once a property is listed on that website, because it's a luxury listing, it automatically gets syndicated to a lot of real estate websites, both domestically and internationally. And then access it as a global luxury agent. And part of the program, you get access to this really cool what's the best way to say it? It's a way to get really high-end lists, like mailing lists and email lists through Wealth Engine. And Wealth Engine basically only gives you the names and addresses and email addresses for the very wealthy. So if you want to market a property to a certain clientele in a certain area and you want to spend a little bit of money and get a really good list, Wealth Engine is the way to go. And they have an awesome discount for Coldwell Banker agents. And then there's Homes and Estates Magazine, which is, the proprietary magazine of Coldwell Banker. It's a great magazine to advertise luxury properties. And then, once you're in the program and really understanding it, you get to really get into their social media pages and see the houses that they promote on there and enjoy all of the luxury content, whether it's on the website or the blog or the social media channels. So here is a slide I have here. It's about character, and I think that this is very, very important because with the way that things are right now in this current market, pricing is high, and as you know, a house could be considered global luxury because of the price point, but is it really luxury? You have to ask yourself, does it have characteristics to truly make it a luxury property? You can't just rely on the price point, especially in this current market. I tell agents that's very important because we want to be proud of the website, of the properties that are on our luxury website. We want to be proud of the fact that we've listed something that's a luxury property and now it's getting put onto ColdwellBankerLuxury.com. We don't want to see little houses on there that aren't luxury because then it cheapens the website, it cheapens the collection. So, before you categorize, if you're listing something and you're going to check that box whether or not it's luxury or not, think about it and think about the amenities, the characteristics, the materials that are used to build the property, the finishes, the hardware in the bathrooms, the faucets, the hinges, things like that. And sometimes agents will say to me, I don't know if I have that eye for detail yet, or if I'm able to really tell the difference between a luxury property and a not so luxury property. And I always say, okay, you need to work on building that skill set. And the best way to do that is by going to look at houses. This is your profession, this is your business. You need to spend time on building your business. And one of the best ways to do that is to get out there and go to open houses and at really high-end properties. I mean, even if you don't have a client right now looking for a house, that doesn't mean you can't go and check out open houses in your office and other brokerages and check out houses. The more houses you see, the better your eye is going to become, and you're going to get that attention to detail built in that you're going to be able to really tell luxury homes from not so luxury homes. And another way to do this without leaving the comfort of your home is to check out luxury home tours on YouTube. I tell agents this is a great way to build your skill and to really get familiar with high-end finishes, gorgeous marble, quartz, the different types of woods used on floors, different types of staircases, different types of glass, hardware. I mean, you name it, there's so much to see out there. And you can see some gorgeous home tours all over the country, all over the world, and really get familiar with different types of materials used in these high-end properties and stuff. So highly recommend. And that right now in this trend that we're in, home tours are very popular in YouTube, and there's some very good ones. So, you can go into YouTube and you can Google luxury home tours, and you're going to find a gazillion of them, and they're a lot of fun to watch. Okay, so let's say you get this call, you're going to go out on a listing appointment and you really want to make a great impression. I'm going to tell you now that you can get a beautiful listing presentation in Moxie. If you like Moxie and you like the dynamic presentation format of the Moxie, absolutely use Moxie. If you're more old school, I have a graphic design background, so I prefer to use PowerPoint because I feel like I have more control over the pictures and the text and the colors and everything when I use PowerPoint. Whichever one you want to use to build a really nice presentation, both templates are there for you in Desk, and I can show you where to find these. But you can find PowerPoint templates and Moxie templates in Desk to use for global luxury. They're all branded with the black and the white. I have to give you a little pro tip. I think this is something that many agents have used and they've loved. This is a pro tip when it comes to luxury and when you're dealing with a luxury home seller and you want to make a good impression. One, you want to give them an excellent listing presentation. But here's a tip: create it a few days beforehand if you have time. Let's say they call you, they want you to come, you're coming next Tuesday. You have a few days to prepare. You're going to do your market research, you're going to do your research about that neighborhood. You're also going to prepare the listing presentation. I recommend you prepare it on it at, during the day, then take another look at it at night, and then print it out, bind it in, like, maybe your office has the unibind covers, however you want to bind it so that it looks amazing, and then drop it off at the house a couple of days or the day before your appointment in an envelope with their name on it. That's going to show them, one, that you're very interested in their business, and so therefore you have taken the time out of your day to drive to their neighborhood, get a feel for the neighborhood, and you're dropping that off, and put a note on there: Mr. Smith, take a look at this before our meeting tomorrow, or before our meeting in 2 days, so that when we meet, we can spend more time looking at the house. And that way you're going to get there and they already hopefully looked at it. I know there are a lot of cases where agents do this and the people don't even open the envelope. Okay. But anyway, let's hope they opened it and they read it. And then you have more time to spend with them, getting to know them, building that connection with your client, and getting to know the house. It's because they people want to talk about themselves. That's all they care about. And they want to talk about the house that they've just finished renovating, or maybe a house that they've lived in for the past 20 years. Whatever, they want to talk about what they're interested in, and they want to show you everything that they have done to the property, and that gives them an opportunity to spend more time on those things and less time going over the papers. And then you can, then you sit down at the end of walking around the property and you go over the CMA together and you leave that with them. Another little tip here is if you can get some of those global luxury black presentation boxes, when you go in for the day of the listing presentation, go in there with one of those boxes and have in there like a copy of Homes and Estates magazine and a copy of the report, the wealth report, and put in there your personal brochure and your business card and stuff like that. So when you go into your presentation, you're going in there with this beautiful black box. You open it up, you show them everything you're giving to them, and you leave everything on the table for them, because the luxury clientele is different. It's sort of like, have to think of like Mercedes, right? If you've been to a Mercedes dealership and you look at the brochures for the high-end Mercedes, like the S and the E classes, the brochures are really good quality. They're thick, they're beautiful, they're glossy. You kind of want to take it with you when you leave because it's so gorgeous. You want to give them that kind of quality experience when it comes to the print stuff you're leaving behind for them. You want to make a really good impression. And when it comes to luxury, print marketing is absolutely still king, believe it or not, even in this digital day and age. So that's my 2 cents on that. If you guys have questions, let me know. But I will go on Desk momentarily to show you where to find these templates. This is more about the black box. I'm telling you, this black box is beautiful. It impresses sellers. It is this black gatefold, and then it has this outer box. This thing has been around. Coldwell Banker's been using this for the Global Luxury Program for a few years now. And a little interesting tidbit: Aston Martin is building a condo tower here in Miami, and it's a very high-end luxury condo tower right on the water here in downtown Miami. And they stole this idea from the Global Luxury Program. They're using a gatefold just like this to add for all of the information and the marketing collateral on the building. So I thought that was kind of interesting. This whole look is kind of taking off with the luxury brands. And if you're not familiar with where to order the outer box or the inner presentation box, anybody in your office can help you. They're also super easy to find in Express Docs. The presentation box is $87 for two. And then I think to buy the outer box is something like $17 each or something like that. And you can find the exact prices in Express Docs. This is a little video about the presentation box. I'm going to show you kind of like half the video. It's like 3 minutes long, so you don't need to see the entire thing. Oh, oh. Well, thanks for telling me that it wasn't playing. I thought that everybody could hear it. I'll I will put it okay, well, some people could hear it and some couldn't.
Yeah.
No worries. I'm going to put the link to it in the chat at the end of the presentation. That way, you guys, if you guys want to go back and take a look at that little video about the box, you guys can. It's just basically telling you ideas of what you can put into the box, and ordering a personalized property marketing plan from Express Docs if you want to, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what all that's about. Onward. Oop. Okay, so here is the report. I was giving a class recently in Wellington, Florida, and most of the agents had no idea what this was and what to use it for. Um, so the report, and there's a new one that's just about to come out that's going to be for 2021 and sort of a look at next year. The report is basically a way for you to show a seller or a high-end client that you know what you're talking about when it comes to like wealth and luxury, because there's been a lot of studies done, and what the wealthy are most interested in is their money and how to keep their money. So if you go to if you're talking to people who are selling a luxury property, and you demonstrate that you're able to understand wealth trends and the real estate market in different areas, and what the wealthy are spending their money on and all of that, that's just going to make you seem more like the expert. And this is another really cool thing to include in the box if you decide to get the box. This is free. You can download it off of Desk. If you want to include snippets of it in, let's say, your email marketing campaigns, like so you do an e-newsletter and you need some interesting information to put into your e-newsletter, you don't want to make it all about what you just listed or what you just sold, because as you and I both know, that gets old quickly. You want to share interesting information with your clientele, with your sphere, and this is a great source. You can download the PDF and you can pick and choose some really cool articles out of the report. You can also share it with clients. You can download the PDF and share it. Also, you can order copies of it and have it customized with your name and your picture on the inside. And let's say you want to have 20 just in your office, and when you go out on a really high-end listing appointment, you have something very cool that you can take along with you, besides just your brochure and homes and estates. This is very cool, and almost every agent that I've talked to who've used this and as a tool, the sellers love it because it does have great statistics and really interesting trends inside. This is another sort of version of that. It's called the New Affluent Trailblazers. It's basically a shorter piece, and It also looks at trends and what people are spending their money on. This one tends to look more at generational spending and what different age groups are spending their money on and what's happening in different real estate markets, but it's definitely more of like a condensed look. This one you can't get. This one you can't order, you can't download the PDF off of Desk as far as I know, unless they've just changed it in the past day or two, but you can order customized versions of this one too if you want. It's less expensive because it's not as long as the report. Oh, look, Kenneth shared the report. Thank you, Kenneth. Onward. Okay, coddlebankerluxury.com. This is the gorgeous, I touched on this earlier. This is the gorgeous website for the brand that's just for the luxury properties. Here's what I'm going to tell you now. In here, because of the threshold tool, what's happening is that a lot of properties that, oh no, my sharing stopped. Let's see what happened. You can't see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see the presentation.
You can? Because it stopped for me. 1 second. Technical difficulties. Let me get back to where I was on the website. Sorry. Okay. The website. So I want to tell you now that what's happening is that a lot of agents or some agents, especially here in Miami-Dade County, unfortunately, are putting in a property. They check it on the threshold tool. They see that the property is over the threshold amount, and they check the box for luxury. So then the property is getting put into this website because this website gets fed from CaldwellBankerHomes.com, all of the luxury properties. If an agent checks a property as luxury, it's going to go into here. So let's say they're checking the box simply because the price is in the luxury price, but it's not a luxury property. So what's happening is there's a lot of properties that are showing up if you search in like a city area that aren't necessarily luxury properties. And that to me is a major problem, and it's something that I think we need to fix. So when I brought this up to the National Global Luxury team just this past Thursday, I had a meeting with them. I said, what are we going to do about this? There's a lot of properties that are showing up here that aren't necessarily luxury, and here we are preaching that it's so important to pay attention to characteristics and character when it comes to marketing luxury. They said that we really have to rely on the agents and the brokers to not put a property in here that really truly is not luxury. So I think that there's a lot of education, and a lot of we need to kind of like spread the word, that if the property is not luxury, you shouldn't be considering it luxury, because that's just going to cheapen the program. But I think they're trying to work on ways to kind of have like a check and balance. And now I'm saying that I have bad network quality. I hope you guys can still hear me, and I hope you can still see my screen.
Yes, we
I'm
can.
going to go. Thank you. Thank God for Kenneth. All right, I'm going to continue forward. So the website's really cool. If you haven't explored this part of the Coddle Banker website, please do coddlebankerluxury.com. It's a gorgeous website with big, beautiful pictures and hero images. You can search up properties in other cities. You can search up certified luxury property specialists in other areas. Let's say you have a client who wants to move out of Florida or the Mid-Atlantic, wherever you are, and they're moving to another area, and you want to help them find somebody in another area, you absolutely can find certified luxury property specialists in other cities, and you can help them find properties. It's a really cool website. You can even search by interest. Let's say you have a client interested in buying a property for horses or something. You can search equestrian. You can search deep water for yachters and boaters. It's very, very cool. I recommend you spend some time here. And the whole point of the reason I have this in my PowerPoint presentation is because the program is so robust. We have these relationships with all these other real estate websites around the world. So your property, if it's a luxury property, gets placed on this website, it's automatically going to get fed to a bunch of other luxury real estate websites automatically. The syndication is pretty cool. So here, domestically, this is a short list of some of the most important ones. There's James Edition, Bloomberg, Robb Report, Mansion Global, Wall Street Journal, and the syndication really works. I always say this. Agents call me out on it sometimes, and they'll say, "Oh no, I went in, I didn't see it." If you go to wallstreetjournal.com and you go to the real estate tab at the top, It's going to take you to the real estate section of Wall Street Journal, and there you're able to search. If the property is over a million, it's going to show up there. You may have a lot of other properties in that same city. Maybe if it's Naples or Miami, there might be a lot of properties, but it's going to show up there. For international syndication, in a lot of the international sites, it has to be over 2 million US dollars for it to show up. It just depends on the website. The website dictates their own parameters. But the syndication is very cool because it's just getting your property even more exposure to even more eyes, around the world. So it's cool and it works. Here's some of the media partners. This is important because, like I said, for the luxury market, print is absolutely still king. And if you're going to take on a luxury listing, you need to be devoted to the idea of spending money on marketing that property. I always tell agents, especially when we come to this part, because a lot of agents feel that they don't need to spend so much money marketing. I always recommend to agents, and this comes from 21 years as a marketer, you have to have a budget for marketing. Marketing has to be part of your budget and the whole in your business. You're running your real estate business. You're the main attraction. You should have a separate budget for marketing. And every time you have a closing, you put some money into that account. Most banks will give you a second checking account for free, especially if you have one that you keep a decent balance in. Take out another one, make that your marketing account, and try to keep a good amount of money in there if you can, and replenish it every time you have a closing, because when this market starts to go down, the first market that's going to get hit is luxury. And so, if you're making luxury your main niche, you're going to feel it. So you definitely, and that doesn't mean you're going to stop marketing. That's when you have to start marketing even more, when the market starts to turn, right? So absolutely keep money in there. And when you get a really high end listing, think about all of the opportunities that you have. The fact that you're a Coldwell Banker agent gives you the ability to have a huge plethora of magazines and e-newsletters that you have access to. So we have a partner called Sky Media. You've probably never heard of them before, but they're an advertising agency. So basically, they're our partner and we work with them. So I'll go to them and I'll say, okay, I have an agent in Palm Beach and she has a deep water estate. It's 5 million. She wants to advertise it in US Yachting Magazine and a couple of other boating focused magazines. And she also wants to advertise in Wall Street Journal's New York edition. This person at Sky Media will help me develop an advertising plan. And then I show it to the agent and she'll say, okay, that's a little expensive. So I'm just going to do Wall Street Journal and one e-newsletter with Yachting Magazine. So this person at Sky Media helps me help the agent. I'm sort of the middleman between the agent and the advertising agency. And we work out a little marketing advertising plan for that property for them. And it's great. And if you need somebody to design the ad for you, they do all of that. I have a great graphic design background. I have helped a lot of agents as well with the little bit of design here and there with ads. So there's a lot of abilities here. And when you go into the global luxury section on desk, you can see the marketing brochure. And in there, they have all the pricing and all the capabilities and the different kinds of ads you can do. So it's pretty cool. And if you have questions on that, you can ask me directly. But there's so many magazines and newspapers we have partnerships with. This is more about the international syndication that we already talked about. They do work. I did have another agent call me out on the Indian one. He went to the Indian website which is called 99 Acres, and he started to search for property. He didn't see his property in Sarasota. And I said, well, okay, you're searching it from an Indian's perspective. So you need to go to 99acres.com, and then you need to search in the international tab, of course, because you're searching for a property in the United States. So I had to sort of change his perspective, and then he kind of understood. So that's more on the international syndication. Trying to give you back some of your afternoon and not take the entire hour. This is about Home of the Week. Now, Home of the Week is run by the Coldwell Banker social media team, and there's only 52 a year because they really do only feature one exquisite property per week in this channel. And you have to have high-end photography and a high-end video in order to be considered. And they'll feature this on their blog, and they'll feature it in their social media, Facebook and Instagram, and they'll also put it on their YouTube channel. It gets a lot of exposure. But I've submitted like 5 properties since I started with Coldwell Banker earlier this year, and none of mine have ever been chosen. So, it's only 52 out of the entire country per 52 per year. So, it's kind of hard. The blog. I was showing this to an agent the other day and they were like, "Why are you talking about the blog?" This blog is actually very cool. This blog is on the coddlebankerluxury.com website. And if you subscribe to it, you also get like an email every time there's a new article. But this is a really great blog and it's a great way to get information, guys. I know you're always wanting more content to include in your social media or in your e-newsletters, like I talked about with the report. This is another great source for social media posts, for e-newsletters, for just including something in a brochure that you want to send out to your sphere. They have cute, really fun articles, and not all about luxury, not all about real estate. It's a lot of articles about anything having to do with camping, wellness, yoga, diet, nutrition, anything you can think about. They have all kinds of really cool articles that sort of appeal to the wealthy, and ideas for vacation places and things like that. So a really cool source of articles and information that you can share. I'm not telling you to plagiarize, but you can link back to the blog itself, which is good for the blog because the more subscribers they have, the better for the brand. The direct mailing lists. A lot of agents don't know that we have these and they're awesome. So the direct mailing lists are available right on desk in the global luxury section and you can click on them and they do an automatic download into your computer. These lists are from Wealth Engine. They're Excel spreadsheets when you download them, and they have physical addresses, names and last names, and email addresses. Now, they are categorized by interest. So artistic interests are those who collect art. Then there's the real estate investors, and they have added one for Fortune 500 executives. And then they have the boat and yacht owners one, and then the aircraft owners and equestrian. Now, when you go to download this list, awesome, download it, and you'll see most of them have like thousands of names. Don't do an email blast to the entire list all at one time because you'll get flagged as spam immediately in whatever email program you use, whether it's Constant Contact, InTouch, all of them, you'll get flagged as spam by any email server anywhere. So absolutely don't do that. What I recommend you doing is taking the time to organize it and to select it out. So you say you have a property that has a helipad or it has a place for a plane, or maybe it has a horse barn, whatever, and you really want to, you download this list and you want to do an email blast out and tell them about this cool property you've got. Think about where people are moving to in your market, where they're coming from, and then focus on certain zip codes and do a mail out focused in certain areas. Play with the list, break it up into pieces, so that you're not sending out more than like 100 at a time, because that's going to keep you from getting flagged as spam, and you're going to have a lot less bounce backs and stuff. So you need to download these lists and then start breaking them apart, and they're awesome lists and we're legally able to use them. Realogy updates them once a year. They're a really great resource, a really cool tool, and a lot of agents have no idea that we have them. This is Wealth Engine. If you have questions about the Wealth Engine, I can talk to you about it. I have gone through the training for it. This is basically a way to get very high-end mailing lists for very wealthy. They cost money. I think is $250 for a yearly membership to Wealth Engine, and I believe if you get a membership, you get a free list. And then if you want more lists after the free list, you have to pay for them. They only have wealthy people and they're all like double and triple checked. So there's less bounces and stuff. I've had a lot of people tell me it's really awesome. So if you have questions about this, I can help you out with it. But they also have a training. If you go to their website and go to train, I think they have like a training tab. You can sign up for their training. They do a training twice a month if you're interested. Also, Cole Realty is something that's available to all of us. It's free, and it's also a great resource and does a similar thing, but it's not with just wealthy people. This is about Homes and Estates Magazine. Homes and Estates, as you know, is a proprietary magazine for Coldwell Banker only luxury properties. I help the media team with Homes and Estates because it's sort of falls in my wheelhouse, and I help out like with getting like listings and stuff. So you can place quarter page, half page, full page ads in here, and it has a major distribution all around the country. And the one that comes out in the fall, which it already closed, it's already in production, but that one gets distributed all around the world. So it's found in newsstands in South America, Australia, Europe, and it's also an insert in high-end newspapers and other magazines. So it gets a huge distribution. Here in Florida, we have our own version of Homes and Estates that comes out twice a year as well, called Florida Portfolio. So we have this. This one comes out in the spring and the fall, and we're soon going to be collecting ads for this one. Florida Portfolio, instead of selling by size of an ad, we sell in distribution. We sell in copies, so agents can order 100 at a time, and it can be personalized with your picture on the front, and then you can send it out. You send your mailing list in when you order the magazine, and they send it out for you to your sphere. And it's like $340 for 100 magazines, so it's a pretty good price. And you can put as many properties in there as you want to, by the way. Um, about the certification course, this is outdated because, as you know, the one here in October just ended. So I don't have the new dates on this slide because they haven't announced them yet. But here I have the information about the certification requirements and about the class. The class is really cool. I audited the one back in June. It was a virtual class, and it was very, very cool. I loved it because they have people that talk to you from the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing, and then they also have high-end agents that come and talk to you about the market and how to break into luxury and tips and tricks on how to succeed. It's just really cool. I highly recommend it. This I built as sort of like a bulleted list of like what are the advantages of paying the $500 and going through the certification course. And you probably, after sitting through my class, have kind of deducted what those are, but it's just like, it's so many, it's the networking, it's that attention to detail, the ability to really know how to market that property in the best possible way. You walk away with knowing the best way to go into a listing appointment, the best way to appeal to your sellers, having really good content for your email and your mailers. So the benefits are endless. It's really it's a great thing to spend the time and the money on doing for your career. The first virtual class was in this 2021 at the beginning of the year, and it was like the most popular class ever. It had like 1,300 attendees, and then the one that I went to in June had like 800 attendees, and the one this past week or the week before last at Gen Blue, I think it had like 500 attendees. I always like to mention Luxury Presence. Luxury Presence is a vendor. They're not owned by Caldwell Banker. They're an independent company out of Dallas, Texas, I think, but they only build real estate websites. So they build websites for realtors, really beautiful high-end websites, and they build property websites. So if you're interested in getting a really nice website for yourself, I highly recommend Luxury Presence. I'm working with them right now for an agent team here in Florida who's building a website. They're really, really professional, and they know the global luxury look and branding, so they can make a site that for you that really looks amazing. And if you want to let's say you get that listing and you want to do listing concierge for your global luxury listing, know that listing concierge and the team that works in listing concierge has all of that black and white branding. So when you have a listing that's global luxury, you check the box for global luxury when you're putting in your listing concierge order, and your collateral is going to come out with that black and white branding and not the traditional blue for Coldwell Banker. And let's say you're building like a brochure or any collateral for yourself, and you want to start to put yourself out there as a like a luxury agent. And say you haven't really sold a lot of luxury, or maybe you don't have really nice pictures that you like of properties that are luxury, go into BrandServe, check out what's there. BrandServe has a huge collection of high-end, beautiful luxury properties, exteriors, interiors, gardens, all kinds of aspects of the property, and tons of pictures in there. So download those pictures. We're able to use them, and you can use them for your brochure, for your social media, things like that. So you have the materials there for you. I wanted to go now before we end. I want to go on to desk so that you can see where to get a lot of these goodies, because agents love to see that. So let me just go there. 1 second. So let's see. Okay, here we are in desk. So to access all of the global luxury stuff, you start here on desk and then you go here to marketing and you go here to global luxury. In the global luxury tab under marketing, there's so much. So under that tab, there are sub tabs with everything from marketing tools to certification. You can see it all here. So, for example, if you have questions about the program in itself, that's going to be here on the main page. For global luxury, here's where you have direct access to the blog, the resources brochure. This sort of basically tells you everything that the program has access to, whether it's print marketing, home of the week, things like that. Um, the downloadable versions of the report that we talked about are here. And then you can ask questions. Lots of people have questions about certification. The certification questions are all here. Frequently asked questions about certification. If you want to download a report of other luxury property specialists around the country, that Excel spreadsheet is downloadable from here. It says luxury property specialist report, and here you can find them all over the country. And let's see, the application that agents have to fill out in order to be considered for certification is right here. And then a lot of other goodies that you might need along the way as you decide to get more into the luxury realm. The direct mailing lists that I showed you guys are right here. As you can see, they've added US Business and Fortune 500 executives to the list of lists. And like I said, these are all direct downloads, Excel spreadsheets into your computer. They're a really great asset to have. The threshold tool to check the pricing in a zip code is here. So you can just put that in and it tells you the global luxury threshold. So like I sit in South Miami and it's 1,000,006 here where I sit. And then all the information about the global luxury website is right here. Questions about land, because for a long time, land was not considered or could not be considered global luxury, but now you can list a piece of land as global luxury if it meets certain criteria. And all of that is right here. Even rentals, that's here. Information about Proxio. Proxio is sort of like the back end of the coldwellbankerluxury.com website, and there's information here about the referral process. And then on those listing presentations that we talked about, all of those PowerPoint templates are here. And if you download them, they download as a PowerPoint and then you can play around with them and they're already with like the black and white branding. Or if you want to build a Moxie, you can go directly to Moxie. And when you go to build a presentation in Moxie, you can choose Global Luxury and it's going to give it to you in that black and white look. So that is about it. I am going to see if there's any questions. I'll give everyone a few minutes if they want to type anything in. In the meantime, I'm going to put my website. My email address. And I'm going to upload into the chat my presentation. So if you want to go back and take a look, you absolutely can. And I would love to hear what you guys thought. Kenneth said, please and thank you. Good, I will. I'll put the presentation in here. The program is always getting better. We have new leadership in the national team. We're now being headed up by this really cool guy named Michael Atno, who has tons of experience in luxury and in real estate. And he's a really good guy. I'm really learning a lot from him already. And as far as like who I am, I'm a luxury marketing manager for Florida, and I'm one of only 5. There's a luxury marketing manager in Beverly Hills. There's one in San Francisco, Chicago, Boston, and me, baby. That's it. So there's only 5 of us in the United States, and we're here to sort of spread the good word about the global luxury program and to help agents whenever we can. So let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to upload this to the chat, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for attending. Bye.